Welcome back again to Joe's Son of Boxing. Let's talk a bit about this furore that's surrounding the Maxi Hughes alleged robbery against George Kambosos. Okay, but before I do that, I put a poll up. Not a poll. I mean a poll. POLL, regarding this matter, saying or asking, who do you think won the fight, Hughes versus Kambosos, and how do you think they won it? So let me go through the results of that. 120 of you so far have voted. You can go and vote on it if you want. It's over on the community section of the channel. All right, so let's have a look at the results, because I think they reflect the sort of outrage that exists over this fight. So the question was, what is your opinion on the George Kambosos Maxi Hughes fight? And 6% of people, 6% said that they thought Kambosos won a clear decision. 6% of people thought Kambosos won a clear decision. 9% of people thought Kambosos won a close fight. So 9% thought he won a close fight. We then get to Maxi Hughes. 56% of those who voted, again, it's actually 130 plus, I think, voted. 56% said that they thought Hughes won a clear decision. So over half the people thought Hughes won, with rounds to spare. 21% thought Hughes won a close fight. 21% thought Hughes won a close fight. So you're basically talking 77% of people thought Hughes won if you put together the close fight choice and the wide points decision. 77% of those who voted, 130 people voted, thought that Hughes won the fight in one form or other, whereas only 15% thought Kambosos won. All right, and 8%. As a final choice, I put down, it was 8% of people said I would not have complained if the result was a draw. 8% of people said, yeah, a draw would have been fair. Would have been a fair result. Right, now that little poll, obviously this is a small channel. I just wanted to really, to gather your opinion of it. It doesn't surprise me that over half the people who voted think that Hughes won clearly. 77% of people thought Hughes won anyway, one way or another. So, 3/4 of you are really saying that Hughes should have won this fight. I have no problem whatsoever with people who say they think Hughes won. None at all, all right? However, I think that all of this outrage at this decision it's just left me absolutely perplexed. And obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion and there's subjectivity and all the rest of it, but the fact that people are saying this is a daylight robbery, this is on a par with Catterall versus Taylor, which Catterall versus Taylor is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my life, and I've been watching boxing for 45 years, or maybe even a little bit more. God, I'm getting old, but you know what I mean. That's one of the worst decisions ever. This is nowhere near it for me. In fact, it's not even a robbery. All right, because I thought that this was a really close fight. And as I watched it live, I did a review video, and I do my review videos normally about, less than half an hour after I've watched the fight. With this one, I watched the fight, I heard the result, and then I made the video. So maybe 10 minutes after watching the fight. And at the time, I had it 114, a draw, okay? Now, I did say in that video that it was such a difficult fight to score. And I felt that I wanted to watch it again, because I feel that, and I felt, it was weird because I sort of, before I totted up my scorecard, I watched it live, and before I totted up my scorecard, I thought, Hughes has got this. That was my immediate reaction. It was one of those fights I just felt Hughes probably edged it, not massive, but edged it. And then I had it a draw, 114. But I said, this was a difficult fight to score because of the manner in which it unfolded, the styles, the lack of punches that were landing, the lack of punches that were being thrown in a lot of these rounds. So I went back and watched it, and I watched it with the extremely the American commentary team were giving Hughes everything. So I turned the sound off. Obviously, I knew the result, and I watched it again. And I totted up my scorecard, and guess what? I had it 114, 114, and a draw again. Now, I say that, but on both occasions of watching it live and watching it without the sound on again, I have to say, again, a lot of those rounds, look, I never ever give drawn rounds. I don't think there's any excuse for it. Unless neither fighter does anything, there's just no way that conceivably you can have a drawn round. If there's only one punch more that lands, you should give it to one guy. And a lot of these rounds, I'm thinking, well, nothing's being landed, almost nothing's being thrown. I'll give you a perfect example if you want to go and watch this again. Round 7 was the worst of the lot, the worst of a bad bunch. Nothing happened. I mean, Hughes was, trying to counter. Kambosos was, doing herky-jerky, loads of feints. On the occasion when he did decide to throw a punch, it wasn't really landing. Hughes's counters weren't landing. And this was true with a lot of these rounds. And one guy described it as a masterclass in counter punching from Maxi Hughes. Look, as I said in my preview video, I have great admiration for both these guys. They're two of my favourite fighters because they're good, honest, spit and sawdust fighters. And again, I have no problem with people saying that Hughes won this fight. No problem at all. But this idea that, by the way, obviously the 117, 111 for Kambosos is a ridiculous scorecard. No argument there at all, and that needs to be investigated. I mean, Kambosos is the top-ranked fighter. Hughes was the outsider. We've seen this with top-ranked cards and with what do you call it, Golden Boy promotions. I mean, I watched a women's fight. I can't remember who it was between, but one of the cards was a whitewash, and you just think, is one of those cards filled out before the fight's even begun? Well, 117, 111 was obviously ridiculous, but 115, 113 for Kambosos. Again, I scored it a draw twice, but maybe if you want to give them everything, 115 to 115, 113 to Hughes, no problem. But the idea that Hughes won this, 8-4 or 9-3 or something, I just can't see that. And yeah, I could go along with the crowd and go, yeah, it's a robbery, and and look at me, I'm with the crowd. And by the way, some of the other YouTubers, people like G-Man, Chris Andre, they had this as a robbery or very, very wide for Hughes. These are people I respect. These are people who may have it right. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe, I've watched it twice, but I don't know. When everybody says, oh, this was outrage, this was this was... You start to think, well, what am I missing? Look, just to sort of recap, no problem if you thought Maxi Hughes won. No problem at all. No problem if you thought George Kambosos edged it. I personally, as an overview of the fight, if I wasn't to score it and I was to watch the whole 12 rounds in one big chunk, I would probably come away thinking Maxi Hughes has edged that in a close fight. But you score it round for round. And twice I scored it 114, 114. Other people, people I mentioned, and others whose opinions I respect, they scored it wide for Hughes. Maybe I am missing something. But to say this is one of the great robberies of all time or of the last 20 years, I do not see that at all. I can't see it. I just can't see it. And I'm not going to BS anyone. I mean, I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Right or wrong, I'm giving you my honest opinion. But obviously I'm in the minority. If you look back to our little poll, again, this is a very modest channel. Over 77% of you thought Hughes won. Fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion. But anyway, just thought I'd say that. Thanks for your time, as always. Leave your comments below if you want to throw verbal custard pies at me. I guess I'll have to take it. But I do appreciate you watching the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button as well. Build the channel up. Come on, let's do it. And yeah, I'll read your comments and answer. But thanks a lot. Bye for now.